Oh, hey everyone, Luke here. Now, no, you shouldn't really talk with your mouth open, but grab yourself a cake because we finally did it. After Promised Neverland and Dr. Stone, Mission Yozakura was the series that cracked the 100 reviews in a sequential order, one after the other, not taking a break in between or anything like that. It was the first one to actually do it, so we finally got there. Something that I've been wanting to happen since starting up with the Promised Neverland and continuing on. Finally got to that point. So congratulations, get yourself a cake. Thank you for, particularly thank you for Pie Jams for being throughout all these 100 reviews at this point. So yeah, you deserve a pat on the back. But now, with the 100 review here, looks like we're heading into the final stages of the series. So let's just dive right into this chapter. Okay, so this will be chapter 221, titled Alpha's Blooming. Now, side note for this, the first episode of the anime, I did watch it. Really good adaptation. Felt they nailed it completely. Particularly Kiricho's voice actor. I really like it. Really like his voice actor. He obviously captures the subtle but very threatening nature of the character. So just wanted to say that, and hopefully we will do like when the whole anime has come out, we're able to like go through it all. Hopefully we will do like some sort of video on it, maybe for Control Chaos. But anyway, the chapter starts off pretty much from the ending of the last chapter, and all you see is Alpha's blooming. It's because obviously the title is called Alpha's Blooming, so it's obviously focusing around there, and everyone's just confused by it, just being like, Alpha, are you okay? What's going on here? But then all you see is just these visions of Alpha, one after the other, consisting of everyone in his family, and ending with Taiyo being dead in front of Asa on a throne. So it's funny because I was watching a video earlier from a YouTuber of just saying like, what would everyone's greatest fear be? And this is probably Alpha's greatest fear, of just seeing his whole family, but particularly his father, dead, being killed by the main antagonist of the series. So I guess that this is what his blooming is going to be. It's going to be like visions, premonitions, or future sight. Just something to do with that element, and just how he's able to overcome it here. But as he's doing this, the vision just completely breaks away, and you see that Keigo is the one that has saved him from this. As he says, if you think you're going to fall, you will. And still, whole first time I've ever been inside a mind like this. It feels like it's ready to fall apart any second now. Yeah, I don't really blame Alpha for feeling that way, because again, seeing your whole family there, but ending with your dad, or not even your dad, like just the person you look up to, you respect, and you admire the most, just being dead there, and the one towering over them that has actually killed them. I don't know who would be able to stay steady in that situation. So yeah, it's no wonder that Alpha's mind is falling apart right here, as we see him being able to become back by Keigo, who's using his blooming to kind of get Alpha under control, which makes sense because Keigo has done this before, because part of his blooming is being able to assimilate into some, being able to adapt to someone through the sheer power of his blooming. So his blooming is basically cancelling out Alpha's blooming now and trying to get him back into a steady pace of mind. As he goes on and says, usually people says are stuff full of memories, but that is no memory of the past. Anyway, stick around here and you'll fall apart. Time for you to get out of your head and come and wake up. As you just see it completely breaking apart all around him. But at this point, you see Alpha starting to wake up. you see Alpha starting to wake up after after a door just shatters in front of him and Keigo, and they're just like, oh crap, what do we do here? But before anything of that can be even resolved, you see the blooming eye just, unless it's called Third Eye, unless this blooming is literally just called Third Eye. It could go in any other direction, and we'll soon find out that, yeah, it's not going to matter at this moment in time. So, yeah, you see it just closing up and just leaving a gash on him, which is followed by a hole being left there, and you just see, like, his eyes, like, you see, like, the vision is still there within his eyes, because you see the lines in it, and you just see him profusely sweating at this point. And everyone is yeah, you don't actually see what they're actually thinking, but I can imagine they're just like, their minds are just going like crazy all over the place, like, oh, what do we do? What do we do in this situation? What do we do in this situation? As they say, okay, this could be bad. But before we get anything else, we see that Taiyo has finally returned. So yeah, he's gone back from his vacation with Mutsumi. He probably had like the sixth sense of like, wait, my kids are in trouble. I've got to get back there ASAP right now. Or maybe Hiyofumi and Karicho contacted them and just been like, you've got to get back. Alpha's got a fever. You've got to do something about it right now. Which, yeah, given them two, that's probably what actually happened. And as everyone is seeing Taiyo being here, they're all pretty much asking the same question, like, what the hell are you doing here? And Taiyo explains that, yeah, I got concerned, so I came home early, but part of his concern was probably just Karicho and Hiyofumi just screaming down the front of him, Alpha's in danger! Get back to Japan right now, Taiyo! Get back to Japan, Mutsumi! So yeah, he's just being like, okay, I know the trick to getting Alpha to relax here, obviously, because he's his son. You've gently got to rub on his forehead in a little circle. So he's basically doing like, to give a context here, when you dip your finger in water and then rim it around like a glass, I guess that's kind of like what he's doing here, which I imagine it will probably have like the same effect, just being like, that kind of effect when you do that with water and the glass. He goes on and says, if you can't sleep, do you want me... No, he's thinking about a flashback of between him and Alpha, where he's like, oh, if you can't sleep, do you want me to read a story? But Alpha, being the most logical person here, he basically sums up like the cliches in any series of just like the lack of consistency in fictional characters' actions, and the oh so convenient plot development bugs me so much that I'll just it'll just make me be in even more weight. So he's kind of like one of those people who's just read so many stories or just thought about so many logical things. He's just there like, hey, why is that guy who is so obviously evil being able to get away from everything? And why is everyone letting him get away with it? And you're just there thinking like, well, if that was the case, if it was all like real life, there wouldn't be a story to it. Because some people are like that, like they'll think so logically that they just can't enjoy a story, and you just gotta say to them like, look, it's not real. You've got to bend the rules. You've got to bend the rules of logic in some cases, because otherwise there is not going to be a story. Because if that's the case, why didn't Wyman, the second that the radio tower in Dr. Stone was turned on, why didn't they just send down a different Medusa to petrify the world yet again? Why didn't they just send that down? Yeah, and that's just something off the top of my head, considering I'm looking at the bookcase now, where I've got all my Dr. Stone figures and the Dr. Stone volumes, and you're just thinking there, like, well, if you're going to think about logical things in your series that you enjoy, why doesn't that happen? Or, like, say, in Bleach, why don't Yuzu and Karin have bigger powers? Now, I know Ichigo got the brunt of the powers in Bleach, but at the same time, they should have at least 50% of the powers that Ichigo has, at least, especially by the end of the story. So yeah, Alpha's like that, and it's just like, come on, Alpha. Sometimes you've got to bend the logics, otherwise you're never going to enjoy the story ever again. And Taiyo just says like, haha, you're just too smart, huh? But he's probably thinking like, damn it, Alpha, I just want to tell you a story. Can you just let your brain switch off for 5 minutes? But he goes on and says, okay then, let me cast a spell on you to help you sleep. Let's slowly wind down. And Alpha just gets pissed off here. It's just like, wait a minute, a spell? That's an unscientific accurate superstition. And Taiyo's just like, true, but you know, I do honestly hope you can calm down and relax. I bet it'll work either way. And even though Alpha is shrugging against it, like, Dad, I don't want to. Oh, he ends up falling asleep, and he's just like, oh, this is not gonna work. Oh, it is working. And Alpha smiles, and this is where he's like, we get back into the present. It's just like, it's okay, Alpha. Come on back. But that part there of just Alpha being just like Alpha with his logic is basically the party pooper, especially where it's just like he would never work in a D&D campaign. Let's be honest, Alpha would be like the most crappy D&D campaign ever, because he would just be asking logical questions in the story, and you'd just be there like, I don't know, and he would just be like, spells, that's very impractical, I'm going to go for a sword. Like, how can your spell damage my sword? That's just not logical. It'll be something like that Alpha would be, and you just wouldn't want to play with him. That's basically what it boils down to. So as Taiyo is using this technique to get Alpha back on his feet, you see another door manifesting inside Alpha's mind, which him and Keigo are able to go through, and you see Alpha's blooming just completely vanish off his head, as everyone's just like, okay, he's calming down now. He really is calming down, and you see his body just shrinking down into his normal 4-year-old form. And this is where Alpha like really registers like, oh wait, my dad is right in front of me right now. When did you get back? And Tao's just like, that's not what matters now. What matters now is that just finding your blooming was amazing enough, but I was really surprised to see you all grown up too. You did really, really well, and this just breaks Alpha, not only because he's getting praise from his father, but also because he's being reminded of that vision of Taiyo being dead, which, is that really going to be a vision of the future? Is literally his blooming cold future sight? And is it like 100% accurate, the future? Can it even be altered in any way? Like, that's really a question we've got to take away from this chapter. Like, these visions that he's been thinking, are they the actual future 100% accuracy? It cannot be changed one bit. But if he knows like their future events, would he be able to actually alter them in some way? And like, it's kind of trippy when you really think about it, because people often say that, oh no, you can't change the future, the future is not set in stone, the future is set in stone, you can't change it, it's predestined in the air. But then if you know the future and you know that's going to happen, surely then in the present you're able to change it. It's kind of a weird thing that you have to think about. Like, if you know the future and you know that this is destined to happen because of this predestined thing, would you be inclined to change it? I mean, the obvious answer would be yes, but it's kind of the same thing, like, if you had a chance to go back in time and change something, would you do it? Now, in some circumstances, you would say yes, but in others, you'd be like, well, actually, if you do that, then this domino effect happens. Or, but then in other sci-fi, you're like, yeah, but it goes off on a parallel timeline. So, are we going to get into parallel timelines here? We're going to see, like, what happens if he tries to save Taiyo? What happened then? Or would it just be a case of Alpha just not trying to tamper with the vision in any way? But this being Alpha, of course he's going to try and tamper with it. But I digress. He starts bawling his eyes out, and Tao's just like, oh, okay, I'm sorry I left you for so long. As we have Keigo and Shion being quite brutal here, of saying like, yeah, well, leaving your kids behind where you go on vacation, that's a bit... they haven't had a chance to go on vacation as a husband and wife for a long time. I think they deserved it. Keigo calling him a totally parental neglect. No, they left them in your care. Like, seriously, they left him in your care. I think he's not neglecting his kids. He's just like, look, I want to go on vacation with my wife, just the two of us. We've got family here. They can look after the kids. That's not being neglectful, Keigo. And they go on and say, well, what about Dad? And yeah, Shinzo say like, hey, stop that, you two, because yeah, Taiyo and Mutsume are not done anything wrong. They left their kids in charge. They left the kids with their family that they know they will protect them. And Nano says, yeah, you two, don't do that. You know he doesn't realize. And they're like, oh, and they're like, yeah, you don't realize that. Taiyo doesn't realise that you two are actually joking. Like, they're probably... Now, obviously, they're saying it in a joking way, but at the same time, this being Taiyo, he's not going to realise. Like, he's going to be like, you're saying that about me? Yeah, I'm a bad father. And he's literally saying this here, just bawling his eyes out. And they're like, no, we didn't mean that Taiyo. We didn't mean that, Taiyo. We were just kidding. You were totally awesome. You were totally awesome, Dad. As Taiyo says, you must be so lonely without me. I'm sorry. Alpha's just like, no, that's not it. That's not it at all. I had a scary dream, that's all. But Keigo knows, like, yeah, you see this one panel here of just Keigo looking at them and just not saying anything. So I guess let me go back and quickly look so I'm not forgetting anything here. Keigo saw that vision, so Keigo knows what's going on here, and it's like he's probably thinking in his mind here, like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't tell Taiyo what his son saw, because that can really mess everyone up. So I'm going to keep this to myself for the time being before we actually figure out what his blooming actually is, because as it turns out that the records were so short that they didn't get enough data on it. But looking at the mechanisms at work here in his brain, it's likely. And this is where Tao's just like, what? It's likely what you guys? And they're just like, we can't say for sure. With some research, we should be able to know very soon. And everyone else is just being, everyone in the final is probably being like, you cock blockers, but Tao's just like, okay, I'm excited for it either way. But at the same time, that's a pretty awful tease on our part. It's like, we're just waiting, like, okay, what is it called? Yeah, we don't have enough research, so you're gonna have to wait on that front. It's like, really? Come on. And of course, we start to round out the chapter with Taiyo asking, okay, are you feeling okay now? And Alpha says, yeah, thanks, Papa. And Tao's just like, oh great, now I'm really sorry, but there are these two others that are coming who are decisively not okay, and I think you can realise which two I am referring to here. As you just see Hifumi and Creature in the background, like you just see this panel of Alpha just being like, who is it? And then you just see, then you just hear their voices going, Alpha! And it's just like, oh no, it's not gonna happen. And it happens. You see Hifumi and Creature just like with like their faces, so like this is their faces, and they're just there like, oh Alpha, you're alive, Alpha's alive, oh my god, thank god, you're perfectly normal right now. Okay, we were panicking from the thing, you finally got it back under control. Okay, it's finally panicking. Okay, we're just over here, and they're just talking at probably at like 50 miles an hour, just being like, okay, you're normal, great, oh, you're back to normal, great, that's great. We're both arrived at the same time, and it moves me and Futaba are just there like, well, trying to slow them down, that was a right pain, because you could just imagine that Creature and Futaba were just trying to speed along, like, can this thing go any faster? We've got to get back to Alpha, and everyone's just there like, you two just calm down, he's gonna be alright. It's like, no, he's not gonna be alright. What are those guys doing with Alpha at this moment in time? Why are they being like this with him? Why is he turned out like this? We're gonna kill him when we get by his... okay, calm down, you two. He's alright right now. You really have to calm down. And they're just there being like, oh, okay, welcome back, squad. And at this point, Tao's just like, oh, welcome back, Hiyofumi. And Hiyofumi, of course, it's just going to be like, just bragging to her parents. Just be, yeah, I met this, guess what? I met this cat lady. We ran away from a big river of magma, but Auntie Futaba was there, and it was all like, kaboom, and we're all out of the water. So she's basically, in a really childish way, just explained, like, what happened during her little mini adventure with Koricho, Futaba, Ni, and Kazu. Yeah, I found this cat lady. She can use explosion. That's her blooming. We got on this lava floor and everything. Oh yeah, and it's very funny that she's not mentioned. It's very funny that she's not mentioned. Yeah, and I let the heart of your mother-in-law get away to the villains, but that's okay because I was able to find my blooming guide. It's called blah, blah, blah. And it's called this and that, and Taiyo's just like, really, you did a great job here, Fumi. And he thanks Futaba. He doesn't thank Futaba. He thanks Koricho, but you just see Koricho just to give him the death glare of just being like, I can't believe you're giving me praise, Taiyo, because you know what I feel like with praise with you. But Mutsubi's just there like, oh, what Koricho says, science, Hiyofumi was so independent, she didn't need me to look after her, and Mitsubi's just there like, what kind of retort is that? So yeah, seriously, he's thanking you for taking care of her. At the same time, Koricho, rather than being the smooth, I feel like he would rather not get praise of Taiyo, he would rather put the praise on someone else than get it from Taiyo. I feel like that's what's going on with Koricho right here. So anyway, wrapping up the chapter, Koricho asks Taiyo like, okay, how do things go on your end? And Taiyo answers like, oh, it went even better than we hoped. And Koricho concludes that that's good. The twins have bloomed and we've prepared everything else that we can. It's time we moved on to the final stage of the second mission, Yozakura Frontlines. And we end out the chapter with a creepy glare of Asa's eyes. So yeah, a lot of people, like, the author has said, like, we're entering the final stages of the series. Now, I don't know how much he's actually changed his mind at this point, but, yeah, based on what's going on here, it does feel like we've only got, we've got to find out what Alpha's blooming is. We've got to find out what a couple of the other bloomings of the of Asa's kids are, and also got to have the final fights with the final fights with Asa's kids and the fight with Asa himself. This also includes a final battle with Ryo as well, because Ryo is a part of it, and Mozu as well, because obviously Mozu is going to be a part of it as well. Now the question is like how long this is actually going to take, this the final stage of the second mission, Yozakura Frontlines arc, if that's really what it's going to be called, or it's just going to be called like the Battle for the Yozakura arc. I don't know why it's going to be called. But like I said, if the author, I've said this before, I'll say it again, if the author does want to continue on and he feels like he can continue on, let him continue on. But if he feels like he wants to end it here with just Asa being the main villain of the series, then let him end it here, because I feel like he could go out higher now if it really does come down to Asa versus the Yozakura family as being the final epic battle. But there's something else as well. Like Asa did mention when he was mentioning his backstory before the time skip, that he was under the influence. He did get into contact with the Empire of the Sun, which is basically like the Japanese government, and what would essentially be the Japanese Prime Minister today, to give the Yozakura's clan status, and whether or not that still holds water and he's still just a pawn to the Japanese higher ups. That could remain to be seen, and it might be setting up, like, if the author does decide, like, you know what, I'm gonna have the final film be the actual Japanese government versus the Yozakura families, because that would make sense in the grand scheme of things as well, because who wouldn't want to get like the DNA of the Yozakuras? But we'll just have to wait and see whether it is actually going to end with the final fight being Asa versus the Yozakuras, or if it's going to be like, no, we're actually going to be fighting the Japanese government itself. But that'll just have to be something we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.